Hello, amazing ladies, and welcome to the HerStory podcast. I'm your host, Kylie King, the founder of Australian Ladies in Business Initiative, and I am so excited today to be joined by the amazing Emma Atkin of Fresh Business Solutions. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
So let's get started so the listeners can know. Do you want to introduce yourself and tell a bit about your business?
Sure. So my business is Fresh Business Solutions. I'm a business coach and I predominantly help small business owners put systems and strategies in place to make the business run more profitably and better, realistically. Small business can be very difficult, can be quite challenging at times. And so anything I can do to make it easier is the aim of Fresh Business Solutions, really.
Wonderful. So what sort of systems do you put into place for a small business?
So starting even just at the very basics with a business plan, which gives you an idea of your vision and your mission, what you actually want to achieve with your business. Having a look at your finances, so your break-even point, your cash flow, what sort of profit margin have you set in place? Are you making enough money to cover all your expenses? That sort of thing. And then policies and procedures, particularly if you're going to be employing staff, policies and procedures are so important. The onboarding process for bringing staff on, right through to I've just done a leadership course on leadership skills for small business owners who are looking after staff, having those difficult conversations, all of that sort of thing.
Beautiful. So pretty much the systems we tend to forget about when we're so busy working in the business, and we realize that there's other aspects of the business that sort of need to be looked after. So
yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. So what got you started into business coaching?
So I actually started my career as a registered nurse and was thrown straight into leadership of a team. Of my very first shift, the ladies were older than I was, and a couple of them had probably been nursing longer than I had at that stage of the game. So right through my career of 20 plus years, I don't like to say that too often because it makes me feel a lot older than I feel. I've been in leadership positions all the way through. And 6 years ago, my husband and I started our own plumbing and air conditioning business. And so I went through, the fun and games of having worked on other people's businesses and helped raise their businesses. But now it was my money, and what did that look like? And then trying to run a business through the pandemic, the ups and downs of small business. And at the end of last year, I left a role where I was an operations manager in a large medical facility with over 140 staff, but I was approaching burnout. And so Fresh is something that's been bubbling around in my mind for the last probably 3 or 4 years, having done the small business ownership, having watched hubby deal with staffing issues, policy issues, trying to get him to follow systems. And it just seemed the perfect opportunity to now put, my money where my mouth is and set up my own business and help other small businesses so that they don't have to hopefully struggle through different things that we struggled through.
What a great, vast amount of experience from different industries that you can pull together to then help and serve your clients in their business stuff. That's amazing.
Yeah, look, I've had so much experience. I've worked with a startup yoga company. I've worked with an IT firm for the last 10 years doing their books. I've run medical centres. So when someone says to me, oh, what's your niche? Yeah, small business owners. But I feel like it can't just be female and it can't just be male and it can't just, that's my big struggle is finding my niche. So because of that experience.
I think that's a whole nother conversation niching, because I know that there's a lot of small businesses that are like, yes, you need to niche. And then there's a lot of other people that are like, no, don't niche or don't niche too far. So I think small business owners is a good niche. And that you have, as you mentioned, like yoga studios to then everything else. That's amazing.
Mm.
So you have a more well-rounded thing, because just because you're doing yoga studios doesn't mean it wouldn't, work or have some of those ideas work with the plumbing and the air conditioning.
Well, in fact, that's exactly right. That's the one thing that I have discovered, is that realistically the systems are the same. It doesn't matter whether you're hiring plumbers or yoga teachers or IT specialists. Realistically, your code of conduct, your, bullying policy, your uniform policy, it's going to be specialized to your business, but it's the same general principle. It's the same general strategy.
That's awesome. So that's great. You've got experience everywhere. So small business owners, come and stalk Emma.
Yes, please.
She's got a well-rounded experience and she can help you. So what has been your biggest challenge so far in business?
So my biggest challenge for Fresh has been getting out there, realistically, getting myself in front of an audience, and working with clients realistically. One thing that I have found since I've set up a coaching business, it's very difficult to the service industry of plumbing or, IT, where you go out and you fix the person's problem. First of all, with coaching, you've got to get people to identify that they've got a problem. But it's not as hands-on, I guess. So I've done the Instagram page. I've been out and met people. I've had fantastic opportunities like getting onto this podcast. But that's really been my challenge at this point, is to break into an industry which is, there's a lot of people out there, and my Facebook feeds and my Instagram feeds are now just dominated with so many different gurus and experts telling you niche this, don't niche that, sign up for this course, that course, and the other course. So I guess that's been my biggest challenge at this stage, is trying to focus and get myself properly out there.
There is a lot of noise out there.
Yes.
There's a lot of noise out there. And it's like Facebook hears that there's a lot of noise and brings you more noise.
Yes.
Instagram brings you more noise, and you're like, oh, and everyone has something different to say because they've all done something different. But I think what you said is right. Like, focus on like what you want to do and where you want to go. And then, if one of their tips is helpful, then yeah, of course, use it. But don't get so bogged down in trying to do what everyone else has done.
Yeah. And you can get, like, I've heard it referred to before as shiny object syndrome.
Yes.
Where you go, oh, that looks really interesting. And you sort of wind off down that path. And then you go, hang on, how did I get here when I really wanted to be over there? So
yes. So avoid shiny object syndrome. So what has been your biggest achievement so far in business?
I'm not sure if I'm 100% honest that Fresh has them yet, the achievements, not that other than the fact that I'm still here, I'm still, I haven't given up on it. And I guess that's something for small business owners, that it can be tough, and you don't always, take off at a rapid rate of knots and become an overnight success. So just wake up every day and keep plugging on. For taps, I would say probably the same thing. We're 6 years old now. We've survived a global pandemic where 1 minute we were an essential service and the next minute we weren't. We've had staff come and go. We're still married. That's always a bonus.
It's a very good achievement. I was going to just mention too, you mentioned to me before that you actually based in Wodonga, which is on the border of New South Wales and Victoria. So that would have been a bit of a shit show during COVID. I'm just thinking with the different states and the different...
Oh, it was a nightmare.
And all of that stuff. So that would have been a bit like... And you've survived that. That's amazing.
Yeah. So, at that stage, I was still working for an orthopedic surgeon based in Albury, and I live in Wodonga, so Victoria side, working in the New South Wales side. And I was in the process of winding up that job already, so it actually worked in my favour. But for quite a few days there, I had to cross over the border. So between Vic and New South Wales, they set up these great big white tents that were run by the Army. You had to have downloaded and printed a pass that would allow you to cross over. and you had to have your driver's license as well to prove who you actually were. And it felt almost like I was a criminal. Do you know what I mean? Like having to, we cross over into New South Wales all the time. You don't even think about it.
Yeah.
You know, Harris Farm Markets is over there. So that's where you go. That's where the movie cinema is. You don't even think about it. And all of a sudden, they just locked it all down and you weren't allowed to cross over. For taps, all of our suppliers are in New South Wales. So all of a sudden, even when we were essential workers and we could continue working, we couldn't get the split systems that we needed or the heaters that we needed. You know, it was a real nightmare. A shit show is a perfect word for it. Thank you.
And you survived it.
Yeah.
Which is because we all went through COVID shocks, but that there with the different borders, like that's one border rules were enough for me.
Oh, yes.
The mountains, let alone having to deal with competing premiers and their rules. So fair enough. So when you started your business, whether it's with Taps or with Fresh, what was advice that you sort of wish someone had gone, hey, Emma, don't do this, or Emma, do this?
I think I spent a lot of money in the beginning getting extra coaching and extra training. And I think I got caught up in the shiny syndrome, shiny object syndrome. You know, it was like, here's the solution to taking off and rocketing fast and getting a multi-million clients. And here's this solution and here's that solution. And I think I sort of got a little bit scared in the beginning there and spent money probably where I shouldn't have. I think that's a very different experience to Taps, because when we started Taps, my hubby already had a very good reputation as a plumber. And so we were able to leverage from that and start with, you know, family, friends and work colleagues who were looking for plumbing jobs and things. And we grew from that. We were able to expand, and we've now got quite a large customer base and we're quite happy about that. So I have to sort of take that step back when I'm in Fresh and go, okay, it took a while. It's going to take a while. I only started Fresh in January. So the fact that I'm now not making, you know, the $100,000 a year that they promised I would make within the first 2 months, put your realistic hat on and recognize that small business is a bit of a slog in the beginning, and be prepared for that.
It is very much a marathon more than a sprint.
Yes. Perfect. Well said.
So what gets you out of bed in the morning? Like, what are you currently loving about Fresh? You just said you started in January. So we're, 6 months down? Yep. What's getting you out of bed to go, okay, let's keep slogging on?
I love when I do connect with somebody and what I say resonates with them, and I see that light bulb go off and they go, oh, why didn't I think of that? You know, why didn't I realize it was that easy? So I really enjoy that, and I enjoy the fact that knowledge that I've got can make a difference in somebody else's business and make their life easier. So
beautiful. That is a good reason to get out of bed.
I think so. Helping other people.
So if you're willing to share, what is your ultimate goal for your business? Like the big, hairy, scary goal that we might not like to talk about. Now's your chance to like put it out there into the universe.
Big, hairy, scary goal. Oh, gosh. I would love to be, this is going to sound really egotistical.
No, it's not, because it's your big, hairy, scary goal.
Big, hairy, scary goal.
Out there.
So, we had Women's International Day here in Albury not that long ago, and Emma Isaacs came and spoke. Mm-hmm. And, she got up on stage and she shared her story and she shared her business wisdom, and she empowered a whole room full of women who took that knowledge away and applied it to their business. So there you go. That's my big, hairy, scary. I would love to be able to take it to that sort of scale where I'm not just doing a one-on-one or a webinar, but that I can stand on a stage and empower a whole bunch of people and pass on knowledge and affect their businesses and help them.
Amazing. That's not egotistical at all. That's fantastic. I don't think Emma Isaacs would ever go, oh, I'm so egotistical because this is what I want. So no, I think that's amazing. And I'm sure there's listeners listening to this or ladies in our community that are able to assist with that. So if they're looking for someone to come and speak on a stage, come and hit up Emma. She is up for it. Go and hit her up for all your business stuff. So because you're an expert, your genius zone is business coaching, you have vast experience. Is there a tip you'd like to share with the listeners? Maybe like a bit of a teaser so that they then want to come and stalk you some more.
All right. So here's a tip. I guess think about your business plan. Think about right back to why did you start your business? Like you're spot on. Why did you start your business? Make sure that you have a good, solid business plan that you review every 12 months. So at the moment in my Instagram, I'm talking about end of year tips and reviewing your goals, which is in your plans, your visions, your missions, and making sure that every year, and in my Instagram, we talk about every month, setting goals and working towards achieving them. Making business in bite-sized chunks makes it less scary, but it also gives you a reason and a focus for why you're in business and what you actually want to achieve. And make sure that you celebrate all the little chunks that you do achieve, So yeah, I think just planning for success, because if you haven't got a plan and if you don't have a vision and if you don't have values, then you can't instill those into your staff when they come on, and you just end up losing track of where it is that you want to be. So plan for success, and I can help you write a really good business plan.
Awesome. No, that's great. And I think I liked the celebrating the small chunks, because not every achievement has to be big. Selling the small ones motivate you to keep going.
Yes.
That's awesome. And yeah, a plan, because sometimes shiny object syndrome, that thing will take you off your plan. And then you're like, well, where was I going? And to have that plan as backup, you can go, that was the original plan. I need to stop getting distracted. Or like a fish, what is it? A goldfish, like a goldfish. Yes. Got 30 seconds. This is my plan. So I think that's an awesome tip. Thank you for sharing.
Oh, thank you.
So how do we stalk you? How do we find you?
So I have an Instagram page, which is Fresh Business Solutions AU, and I have email results@Fresh Business Solutions. So
fantastic.
Oh, and I've got my webpage as well, of course, freshbusinesssolutions.com.au.
Beautiful. And what about Facebook? They can find you in the Australian Ladies in Business group. And
yes, absolutely. I am in that group. Yes.
Fantastic. And let's give hubby's business, or your second business, a bit of a shout out. Where would we find Taps?
So Taps Air Plumbing and Air Conditioning. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. We are www.tapsair.com.au. Beautiful.
So if you're looking for plumbing and air conditioning or business coaching, you need to go and stalk Emma. Yeah. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity.